Hello friends, it is Monday, July 2nd, 2018, and I am coming at you here during a midday lunch break to show you the garden. So we'll start out at the trees. Today, officially, this peach tree is taller than I am, and I'm 6'5". I took some viewer suggestions earlier, and I nailed a stake in down here, and I tied off this branch over on the end that was really bending pretty far to the west, and the change has been significant. Now I have these two distinct stems, in this direction and that direction, as opposed to having this one all the way over there. So good changes. Thanks for whoever suggested that. As we take a look at the garden itself, things are coming along real nicely. Let's come on in. So, for starters, in the first bed, the lettuce is still looking really good. I've been keeping up on the cut and come again method here, and I think that's been keeping this from bolting. But the same cannot be said for the spinach. This is different even than it was this morning. I keep coming out here and cutting, but the spinach really wants to form seed heads. So I'm considering removing all the spinach, just taking off the leaves and bagging it in my fridge, and then reseeding mid-season. What would you do? Beets look lovely. It'll be a while before we pick them. At this empty area here, though, is the radishes. I harvested everything last week Friday and then reseeded before I left for the weekend. But I did leave in one little radish plant because the butterflies like them, and they're such pretty flowers. See, look at that. Butterflies love them. Carrots are coming along nicely. Nothing really to show there. Moving up ahead, the celery itself is growing very well, but nothing compared to the zucchinis. Here, let me come across, show you what I'm talking about. We just got tons of flowers in here and plenty of little plants. There's one right there. I got a couple mid-sized ones like that. This one back here, I guess if you wanted a really tender, tiny zucchini, you could pull that one. We like to let them go a little bit longer though, and then pulp them up. They're very good in zucchini bread and such. The walking onions have done their walking thing now. They're all splayed out like this. If they were on the ground, they would start taking root. I've been cutting off the little heads and frying them up with eggs and such. They taste quite delicious. And I think they're just going to look like this for the rest of the summer, which is fine. Speaking of things looking great, ooh, look at that broccoli. Gosh, that's gorgeous. So I have two heads that are that big, obviously right here, and I think I'm going to harvest this one. I don't want them to get too much bigger and then become bitter. And I might even wrap this one's leaves around it, because, these are ready to go, which is awesome. Not a whole lot of change with the tomatoes. They're just big. Nothing is reddening up, but I haven't had any blossom end rot, which is terrific. The peppers loved all the heat we got last week, to the extent, look at this. They're all above the top of the trellis, the stakes. So I can trellis that up. As you can see, we've got lots of peppers that are coming on the specialty peppers, some banana peppers over there. You'd see the jalapenos and everything else on the other side if I went there. The herbs also look quite lovely. We've been heating a lot of basil, and this just happened today. The chamomile flowers opened up for the very first time. Isn't that pretty? I'm going to make some chamomile mint tea one of these days. On Friday, before I left for the weekend, I spent the weekend in Iowa with friends. I filled up these potato barrels all the way to the top. So that video will probably be coming later this week as well. Part 2 of the 3-part series of doing potatoes in containers. The corn is ridiculously tall. It's up to my chest, nearly like when you pull that top leaf over. We had some high winds this weekend, and I never thought of it, but these guys tipped over. Now they're still connected, and I'm not seeing any signs that they're dying, but I'm definitely going to get some stakes out here and stake these up and use some wire to keep them vertical. But this spaghetti squash, look at what a difference that a week makes. As you can see, it is vining out through the rabbit fence and onto the fence. And I think I might just put a nail in the fence and bring some wire down it, and those vines will crawl up the wire. I'm assuming kind of like hops does. Should be fun. You'll also note that I moved the little sunflower metal piece into where the sunflowers are to encourage their growth. They got a little beaten up with the winds this weekend too, particularly the mammoth. You can see it's leaning over and it looks kind of sad. So I think I've got to stake in all of 6 of these rows. You might get the sun in your eyes here, but take a look at how everything is coming up through the arched trellis. Oh, what a difference a week makes. Look at this. We've got several of the plants that are already up to the, this is sternum level for me, so this is about the 5-foot mark for the crossbars. Everything is just winding in and out as it should be. It's growing upwards, and flowers are closing left and right. Like this flower was open this morning when I came out here. I should have had the camera with me, but lots of pollination going on. Here's another plant that's pretty much up to the white bar as well, and they just look so lovely. I'll back up for a moment just to the peas to give you an example. We're done with the pea season. You can see how much more yellow this one is compared to its neighbor's leaves, which is great. Those will die off, and the beans will continue to use the existing pea bines to climb higher. This volunteer that's down here, which looks like it's gotten some leaf damage, but that's okay. That has climbed all the way up into the sun, but that's at the very apex of the arched trellis. So the rest of them are coming along too, and they have such lovely purple flowers. You see? Let me hit the button. Oh, the button. Oh, I'm not doing it right. Anyways, really purple flowers. Oh, here, these are nice purple flowers too. Yeah, that's good. So, peas are good, the beans are coming along. And then in this area, obviously all of the raspberries. This hedge is doing great. I really want to bring you over to the one section right here in front of us. These are the black raspberries from my buddy Jim, the Midwest gardener. Now, these grow in his climate of Kansas, but they're very pretty, don't you think? They have such a nice black head when they get ripe. They're a little bit, actually they're a lot bit more firm than the kind of raspberries that I'm growing up here, and they grow in different clumps too. So obviously his type like to become ripe early, or maybe it's just because they're first-year canes. I've been harvesting a lot of these. Mine are more one-offs with the juvenile canes. I don't get a big crop until the end of summer, early fall. So, but the ones that I do have are delicious, of course. Just for the sake of it, you can see the rhubarb is a little worse for wear. It's definitely not a super heat tolerant crop, but that's okay. We harvested a ton of it earlier in the spring, so I feel very pleased with what we got. So here's one last look in this garden. How is your garden doing? Any advice for staking up my corn for the winds for the rest of the season? What do you think about my reseeding the radishes? Do you think I should do the same with the spinach? Have you had much luck in the past? How are your vining plants growing, etc., etc.? Thanks for watching. If you're new, I hope you'll subscribe, leave a comment down below, and as always, happy gardening and happy woodworking. Bye.